So now that we have that, I'm going to go into ZBrush here. And like I said, I'm going to be cruising a little bit, so if you need to play a little catch up, go watch the intro to ZBrush stuff and we'll get you caught up. But in the meantime, I'm going to go to my reference folder for my Stevens here, and I'm just going to grab a side view. I'm sorry, of course I want to be in Textures, Import, and then go grab my Stevens reference here. And I'm just looking for a decent side view. I believe this one will work fine. So I'm going to grab that side view there. I'm then going to go to Texture, click the image that I imported, add it to my spotlight, and now I've got a spotlight image here. I'm going to crank down that opacity just a bit and just kind of put that in place. Let's shrink it down just a little bit. Okay, so now that I've got that, I'm going to hit Z and then Shift Z to go ahead and drop out of that. Let's go ahead and add a cube 3D. And the very first thing I'm going to do is go to my floor and make sure I'm Z forward, Y up, and then hit X to go across X symmetry. Go to matte cap gray, turn my floor off. So I know that this is the front and I'm mirrored across this direction there. I'm going to go ahead and make it a polymesh 3D. Go turn off project, turn off blur, go ahead and dynamesh this thing down. So now I've got a nice clean dynamesh. So I'm going to go to the side view here because remember this, tap X again once you've made it a make polymesh 3D. So you can go ahead and toggle on your transform, activate symmetry across the X axis, and then Z to bring back my image, Z to go into sculpting mode. I'm going to mask this side, invert that mask, shoot this over here, control, drag, and now I've got a nice dynamesh. Now I don't even need it that high resolution, so I'm going to drop this down temporarily to like 64, control, drag. Now I'm going to get out my clip curve, and let's just grab this side here. We're going to clip this back, tap Alt twice to get that sharp curve, and then tap Alt once to get a smooth curve here. And then this is just straight, and then we'll go ahead and clip this stuff out. I'm going to go ahead and ignore the strap for now. Alt tap. And if you want to, just control drag as you go to keep dynameshing it down. And I'm also going to go here to clip circle and start clipping some of these out. Hold down Alt, and you want to keep that cross out of there so it doesn't do what it just did there. And then we'll go ahead and grab clip curve again, and we'll clip this back. Control drag, clip circle. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but just representative of the overall shape. And you know what? Really, a lot of this stuff is just going to be cylinders. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and just clip this straight back right where those cylinders attach. Boom. Control drag, and now we've got our basic shape. Hit Shift Z, and we've got our basic shape. Now it's a little bit wide, so it's like, well, how wide do we make this thing? Well, for starters, you can probably just go to the side and just kind of shrink that down just a tad. But to get the absolute size, what we're going to do is go ahead and insert a cylinder. I have a custom insert mesh brush that I made. Like I say, I feel bad because I say these things. I'm like, oh, I should show you how to make an insert mesh brush. Go watch my other videos. So we're going to go do a quick hide point split hidden. Alt tap that cylinder. So now this cylinder is going to dictate how wide this is based on my reference images. So what I'm going to do is Shift Z, and you know what? Let's go ahead and save a view. I'm going to grab my document window over here, Zap Link Properties, and let's go ahead and shrink this down like so. So that's about the size and position that I would want, give or take. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and save a custom one there. And now with my cylinder here, I can go to the side temporarily and just tap that middle point. I'm in scale mode. I can tap custom one to grab my view here, and I'm going to go scale this down from this view, and I'm going to grab the width of that top cylinder there with E. You know what? Good enough. And I'm going to just push this back. Okay, so we've got the top one here, and you know what? Let's go ahead and do Control Shift, drag off a copy, and we'll do that bottom one. And we'll just drag that straight down. Control Shift, drag, and now we've got a top one, we've got a bottom one. So we know those are the cylinder outsides, and so the gun will probably be, if I'm looking at my back 3/4 reference, a little bit wider than these things here. So I'm going to Alt tap that, Control Shift, and just make it a little bit wider. There we go. That is the approximate width. You know, let's make it a tiny bit wider. Give us a little bit of breathing room there. Okay, so there's the approximate width based on the cylinder size from the side view. And let's go ahead and flesh out the rest of this. So we know that these are the bigger cylinders. The inside cylinder is going to be slightly smaller but much longer. So I'm going to hit Shift Z to get rid of that. And then these cylinders, I suppose I can keep them, you know what, just for the heck of it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Auto Groups and isolate this one here. And then I'm going to duplicate that one. Now whenever I split anything off, what I like to do is hit Quick Save. and then go to quick save and just load up that last one just to kind of clear out my garbage. And so we've got this one here. So if I move this one out, W to move, there we go. I'm going to scale this down just a bit. There we go. So it's going to be a little smaller, and I'm going to go ahead and mask the end of that, invert that mask, hit W, go back to my custom view, Z to bring it back, Z again, W, and let's just move that one out. So that's going to be the barrel there, and then I'll go ahead and just drag a copy of this one off as well. Control Shift, and Shift Z, and now we can kind of, oh, perfect. Awesome. So I'm going to do a hide point, split hidden. So now we've got two separate ones there. We've got the top and then we've got the bottom. Now for the middle fatter piece right here, I'm going to Alt tap that one, duplicate this one off, hold down Control Shift, and let's go grab our slice. And I'm just going to slice. There's rounded edges on that one, so I'm going to go ahead and build those in later. I'm just going to get the wood part here. So we're on our duplicate here. So I'm going to do Control Shift, and I'm just going to grab this middle part here, delete hidden, go into my Z modeler brush, hover over an edge, and we're just going to do a close convex hole, and we'll go ahead and just cap these off here. And really quickly, I'm going to do a polygroup by max by normals there. Okay, so in order to make this bigger, one of the things we can do is go and grab our inflate. And actually, I probably should have inflated this before we capped them, but we'll see how it goes. So I've got this one here. You know what? Let's do Shift Z. We'll pop it back into place here, and I'll just grab my inflate, and I'll just inflate. We can also use Z modeler to kind of push those out as well. But I'm going to clip these back to get rid of the metal parts. We're not ready for that yet. And there we go. So we got the wooden parts. We got this part. All this other stuff will fall into place in a bit, but it's a good place to start as any. You know what else I'm also going to do? I'm going to go ahead and clip back the trigger guard here. Oops, Alt tap that one, and then just use my clip brush to kind of get rid of that trigger guard. I'm going to make that later when I'm working at a little bit of a higher resolution. There we go. So now we've got the overall shape blocked in. Looks like we need to add, I've got this thing kind of lined up. And I'm just going to take my move brush here. I'm just going to pull this out just a bit to match that. And then maybe pull this end back just a little bit. You can see my precision modeling here. Okay, so we've got the overall shape. So I'm going to hit Shift Z, and I'm going to go into solo mode here. We can kind of start narrowing this thing down. So I'm going to Control Drag, and let's see what kind of resolution we're working on. If you don't like this, preferences, edit, turn off align cursor to surface. And now we are dynameshing here. And okay, apparently it has some garbage left in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do a quick delete hidden, Control Drag. There we go. I'm going to raise this resolution just a bit. Let's say 128. Boom. So now, when I'm looking at it from the top view, it looks like it actually curves down to about this point. So I'm just going to go in here and just do a slight curve here. Perfect. It's a little steep. Let's go here and make it a little less steep there. There we go. Okay, so looking at the back view here, it goes like this, and it looks like it goes from wood right around here. So what I'm going to do is hit Control W, make this all one poly group. We're going to pop this back into place temporarily, Shift Z to bring everything back. And that wood line here, I'm going to hold down Control Shift, grab Slice, and we're just going to slice this piece off. Turn on Groups from a Dynamesh, Control Shift A, and then I'm going to split this piece off into its own poly group. Quick save, comma key, grab it. Okay. So now we've got this as its own piece here. Let's bring everything else back. Shift Z to get out of that. And what probably would have been smarter for me to do is keep this together until this part was resolved. But you know what? I think that'll actually be okay. So what we're going to have to do is soften this transition here.